I think it's time we start a show. What do you think? Shall we do it? Sure, let's go. Let's hit the music. Get it started. Okay. We're going to start in about, a minute and a half. What does that mean? That means it's time for you to check in. Let me know who you are and where you are a deplorable from. I want your name. I want your city. If you got something you want to say, I might even say it. I'm that kind of a guy. I'm a giver. Maybe you got a free commercial you want me to get out there. I probably won't do that. Maybe. Who are you? Where are you from? We'll get to that. By the way, for you listening to us on the podcast, welcome. You can find the podcast at iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, any place great podcasts are. And we are live 9 in the East, 6 in the West. Mike's checking in. Jeffrey checking in. Reese from Texas. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, boom, 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 boom. Okay. I got to do the official opening in just a second. Here's the official opening. Here we go.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. That's a direct order. Do it now.
He's been put down, ripped off, cut open. Now, he's unleashed. The American insurgency starts now. This is Rusty Humphries, Rebellion Radio.
Hello, my brother from another mother. How you doing? My sister from another mister. Hi. My name is Rusty Humphries, and this is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. We are powered by the awesome folks at Right Wing News, and we love Right Wing News. If you've never been to Right Wing News, well, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, that's like one of the best websites there is. They're on Facebook, too. Right Wing News is awesome. We are sponsored tonight. Who are we sponsored tonight by? Oh, we are sponsored tonight by a bunch of folks, but the toymaker.com is a wonderful organ company. It's a website, actually, and you can make all kinds of cool toys. Look at all this stuff. You download it from online, and you play with your kids, and you make this stuff. Kids, grandkids, Halloween's coming up, Thanksgiving. They got all kinds of stuff at thetoymaker.com. Got an incredible book, too, called The Toy Maker's Mysterious Math Carnival, where you can learn about math and stuff with the kids. And if you go to thetoymaker.com, it's thetoymaker.com, sign up for their newsletter. Download some of their toys. Some of it's actually for free. And the woman behind this is an incredible woman. And it's just a great, great website. And all I can say is I suggest you go there. Her name's Marilyn. I know her big brother. I know her as Marilyn Scott, but it's Marilyn Scott Waters. And she's got good stuff. Really cool, nice, fun things to do with the kids. And it's just nice. So go to thetoymaker.com if you would please. Thetoymaker.com. And we got some other great sponsors I'll tell you about too as well. Let's go to the show. Let's go to the screen. Let's see who you are. Who's watching tonight? How are you, by the way? Hope you had a good weekend. Mine was pretty good. Took my daughter to a Harry Styles concert. Okay, quick. Without cheating, am I the only parent that knows who Harry Styles is? Probably not. Name the band Harry Styles was in. See who gets that first. Anyway. Mike is in Scarsdale, New York. Jeffrey, what's happening, Rusty? How you doing? Reese is all the way from Texas. George in Seattle. God bless you. Thank you. Chris is in Cleveland. Jeffrey's in Plant City, Florida. Beth is in Wetumpka, Alabama. I haven't heard of that one. Margarito is in Mississippi. George says free Richard Preston. Lisa is in Washington State. Becky's in Pennsylvania. Amy says howdy from Rusty. Howdy from Rusty. Howdy from Houston. Joshua's in Washington State too. John is in Altus, Oklahoma. Kevin is in Franklin, Georgia. Jason is a deplorable, marked safe from Harvey Weinstein. Are you sure? Are you sure that maybe you didn't repress the memory? And that one's so funny. Well, golly jeepers, I'm in Hollywood. I ain't never heard of Harvey Weinstein. Really? He was messing around with women? I live in Phoenix and I knew about it. I've never met the guy and I knew about it. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, the lies coming out of Hollywood, you know what it is? They all wanted to protect him when he could do something for them. And now that he can't, just like the little lemmings, they all get to pile on. They were scared of him. Now it's time for payback. Jenny is in Minnesota. Woohoo! She says, Jan's in Ohio, Jackie in Joplin, Missouri. Jamie is in Asheboro, North Carolina. Maria and Phil are in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas strong. Good for you guys. Thank you. Charles is in Tampa Bay. Dawn is in Florida. Hey, Rusty. Hey, Dawn. David is in Bethalto, Florida. Betty's in Little Rock, Arkansas. Amanda says, hey, what's up? David says hello. Bob is there from Virginia. Is that David from XM, my old friend? If so, hey, David. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Bob's here from Virginia. Steven's in New York. Brooklyn. Carrie is in Illinois. Joseph is a deplorable from Maryland checking in. Patricia's in Lansing, Michigan. Gordon's in Texas. Diane is in Bowling Green, Ohio, home of Scott Hamilton. Angela says, hi, Rusty. John, South Utah. Rick says, give me the goods, Rusty. Charles says, go Bolts. Ormond Beach, Florida, checking in. That's Mike. Jerry checking in from the land of fruits and nuts, California. James, Benson, North Carolina. And everybody else. Everybody else, thank you very much for being here, and I do appreciate it. Okay. I'll try to get everybody else in there. Oh, it was a glorious day. Such a glorious day not that long ago when President Trump went to the Rose Garden and he brought out a couple, a good old-fashioned American couple. A couple that you just looked at them and you said, man, those are good Americans. You can just tell by looking at them that they're just good old-fashioned Americans. And they were just upset about their boy, their poor little boy, Bo Bergdahl. He'd been kidnapped. And President Obama was given comfort because he cared about him. No, he really did. He cared. Let's remind everybody of the BS that happened in the Rose Garden on the recovery of Sergeant Bo Bergdahl here on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.
This morning, I called Bob and Janny Bergdahl and told them that after nearly 5 years in captivity, their son Bo is coming home. Sergeant Bergdahl has missed birthdays and holidays and the simple moments with family and friends, which all of us take for granted. But while Bo was gone, he was never forgotten.
No, never.
His parents thought about him and prayed for him every single day.
Every day.
As did his sister Sky.
Every day.
Who prayed for his safe return.
Every day.
He wasn't forgotten by his community in Idaho.
No, ever.
Or the military, which rallied to support the Bergdahls through thick and thin. And he wasn't forgotten by his country.
No.
Because the United States of America does not ever leave our men and women in uniform behind.
No, we don't. No matter what they...
As Commander-in-Chief, I am proud of the service members who recovered Sergeant Bergdahl and brought him safely out of harm's way.
He missed a good Ramadan.
As usual, they performed with extraordinary courage and professionalism.
Yeah.
And they've made their nation proud.
Proud.
Right now, our top priority is making sure that Bo gets the care and support that he needs and that he can be reunited with his family as soon as possible. I'm also grateful for the tireless work of our diplomat.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't take that much more of his BS, but let's go forward to his pappy. To Bergdahl's pappy. Nice beard, by the way. Here's the mama. All right, let's just listen to Pappy just for a minute.
The people of Afghanistan, the same. Khalifa al-Thani, the complicated nature of this recovery will never really be comprehended. To each and every single one who affected this in this country, in the service branches, at the State Department, throughout the whole of American government, and around the world at international governments around the world. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, I don't know what I would say different if I'm the parent. The President of the United States at the time should have known better. From every report that we had had at the time, I mean, at first everybody's freaked out, right? They sent in guys to go after him, but then the story started getting a little bit messy. Wait a second. The guy converted to Islam and was saying a bunch of weird stuff and then just kind of disappeared from his post. But then there was the speech you just saw. President Obama was just as happy as he could be. Happy. I mean, don't get me wrong. One of our soldiers, one of our men or women that put their lives on the line for the country, if they are gone, he's right. We never, ever, ever leave anybody behind, ever. I remember I was at Hickam Air Force Base in Hawaii once, and we have a whole section, a whole place, where they're still bringing back bones, soldiers with their bones from World War II and Korea. And they were showing me how they were trying to find out who they were, and they're doing DNA testing still to this day. And so any soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, who is killed in action, or if something happens and he is taken, damn right, we do everything we can to get that guy back. Unless, as I hit my microphone, unless he deserts. And I'm not talking about ice cream and chocolate cake. Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl told a military judge today he's pleading guilty to desertion and guilty and misbehavior before the enemy. Is that right? Yep, that's right. See, I think this is a really big deal. You know? It's a really, really big deal. For a couple of reasons. I mean, we didn't have a lot of... Whoa. I think you lost me for a second. Sorry about that. I went a little dark. Sorry. Anyway, this is a big deal for a lot of reasons. One of them is that the President of the United States should have known that there was something fishy here. He should have known. And yet he didn't. And yet he gave this incredible speech, not having any idea that Bo Bergdahl was a traitor when I knew it, you knew it, most people knew that. This was, this is a traitor. This is a traitor. This is somebody that put other soldiers' lives in danger. This incredible... And soldiers lost their lives going and finding this guy. Guys died looking for him. And the president knew that, and yet decided it was a good idea to make a huge press conference in the Rose Garden. And again, I don't want to go back there. Everything Obama did was wrong. You know, it doesn't do any good. But what does do good, and what is important, is that, I mean, seriously, I mean, it's a real traitor. According to the story, and let's get it straight here because, you know, maybe you didn't heard this whole story. Bergdahl is, okay, he says, according to him, I understand that leaving was against the law, says Bergdahl, whose decision to walk off his remote post in Afghanistan in 2009 prompted intense search and recovery missions, including some of which his comrades were seriously wounded. I thought some died. I thought 2 died. Okay. At the time, I had no intention of causing search and recovery operations, he said. But he added that he now does understand that his decisions prompted efforts to find him. He's 31, accused of endangering his comrades by abandoning his post without authorization. He told a general after his release from prison from 5 years in enemy hands that he did it with the intention of reaching other commanders and drawing attention to what he saw as problems with his unit. Okay. Wasn't immediately clear whether his defense had conceded that he was responsible for a long chain of events that his desertion prompted, which included many decisions by others on how to conduct searches. While his pleas enabled him to avoid trial, he is still facing sentencing hearings scheduled to begin October 23rd. His years as a captive in the Taliban and its allies could be factored into his punishment, but the hearing will also likely feature damning testimony from his fellow service members. The judge ruled that a Navy SEAL who suffered a career-ending leg wound and an Army National Guard sergeant whose head wound put him in a wheelchair would not have been hurt in firefights had they not been searching for Bergdahl. The defense was also rebuffed in order to prove that Trump had unfairly swayed the case with his scathing criticism from the campaign trail. The judge ruled in February that the new president's comments were disturbing and disappointment, but did not constitute unlawful comments influenced by the soon-to-be commander-in-chief. Okay. Now, it's over. Bergdahl has admitted that he's a traitor. What do you think should happen to the guy? Anything? Do you just say, you know what, forgive and forget? We just move on. He's sorry. He's really, really sorry. And you know what? Heck, I mean, they messed with him. That Taliban, they messed with him. He didn't remember English when he came home. Remember that? He could barely speak English. What do you think? You can email me. Make a comment right here on Facebook. You can also leave a voicemail at my website at rustylive.com. It's rustylive.com. I'm just curious. I mean, I'm not trying to be a meanie. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, you're mean because you've got a strong opinion." I'm not being mean. By the way, I got a comment on this shirt today, purple. Glad you like it. Thank you. But I want to know what the American people think. I mean, we've got lots of people watching right now. Watching live, and then there's thousands upon thousands that will watch the repeat and listen to the podcast. I mean, heck, we had a guy that not only gave the largest amount of classified information to someone else, WikiLeaks. They released it. We have no idea how many people that may have injured. We paid for that guy to have a sex change, and then President Obama let him go. So maybe being a traitor to America, maybe it's not that big of a deal anymore. Maybe I hold this country up too much. Maybe because my father was killed in Vietnam, I hold on to my patriotism too much. It's possible. I don't think so, but that's me. So I want to open up to you. I want to know what you say. Comment right here. By the way, we need thumbs up, hearts. We need people. We need Facebook, YouTube, all these channels to know that you're participating, that you're engaged. Make sure you share the video right now too. I'd really appreciate it. Sharing makes a big difference. We need as many people watching this as possible, because the truth doesn't get told enough, and the truth is important whether you like it or not. All right, your comments. Peter's here. He shared it. Chris is there from California. He says, not all of us are fruits and nuts. Thank you, Chris. Okay. Jeffrey says traitors should be shot. Williams from Wisconsin is proud. Eddie says, hey, Obama winning races he didn't like white people. He brought in Obamacare. Everybody gets... Okay, that's too much for me to get to. If you make it a little shorter next time, Eddie, I'd appreciate it. Jamie shared the video. Thank you. Mike says, how about guilty in causing the deaths of all them soldiers that went out looking for him? He's sorry, hide. How about guilty for all them soldiers who was injuries and disabled looking for his sorry hide? That piece of garbage should be executed for desertion. Now, according to this story, I thought I remembered somebody got killed. But if not, that's good. I mean, it's horrible that a couple guys, are in wheelchairs and stuff. If no one got killed, thank God. But it still seems like a pretty big deal for me. Williams says, much attention has been given to the claim made by former platoon mates of Sergeant Bo Bergdahl that he is partly to blame for the deaths of 6 soldiers who were killed in the months after Bergdahl disappeared. That's right. They believe that he gave information to the Taliban, and that information was used to kill soldiers. That's right. I remember that now. Thank you for reminding me. Brandon, hell of a trade. Debbie says, Rusty, please don't insult the military men that died looking for him as his comrades or his brothers. I think I was just reading the story, Debbie, but point well taken. Marvin says he deserves the death penalty for his being nothing but a traitor. Jason thinks prison. Wayne says shot. William says he should die. David says it's not over till after his execution. Robert thinks put him in front of a firing squad and shoot him dead. Deborah, firing squad so others will not follow in his footsteps. Kim says that is treason. Paul says life in Leavenworth. Bob says maximum penalty. David, firing squad. Beth says send him back. John thinks set an example. Donna, life on a rock pile. George, when did the Roman Empire realize that they had declined too far to come back? Did they keep saying to themselves, well, can't happen to us? Colleen says death penalty. Mike says he should be executed. You guys are mean. It's not a laughing situation, but you're calling for the death penalty, the ultimate penalty for a man. And are you sure it's worth that? Now people are going to go, oh, you're just wussing out, Rusty. No, I'm not wussing out. I'm actually giving you a chance to be heard. We have too many things where you can't be heard anymore. Too many places where nobody really wants your opinion. They just kind of want to tell you what your opinion should be. Now, I am a guy that thinks that being a traitor to this country is... When I say right up there with murder, I mean, do you consider a guy a murderer even though he didn't pull the trigger, but he gave the information for people to kill our soldiers? And that gives me a little pause, I got to be honest. Because those guys wouldn't be dead, right? If it wasn't for that information he gave. Marvin says sorry won't cut his ties. Tony says, okay, send him back over there, then let him live with them. Tim says life in prison, I do believe, is appropriate. Don thinks this is a disgrace. Donald says it's hard to forgive, but man, he needs prayer. You don't want to know what I think. Firing squads. And then here's the other question. And Brandon says this. Here's my other question, and that is, why do you think the commander-in-chief had no idea that Bergdahl was a traitor, and now an admitted traitor? Why do you think the commander-in-chief did that and brought the parents in and had this big Rose Garden ceremony? Do you think he knew? Or do you think maybe some of his guys said, okay, today, Mr. President, we have a speech for you to give. It's for a soldier that we brought back. So if you would, here, his parents are going to be out there. Do you think it was as little as that? Okay, go out and give that speech. Or do you think he knew? And if he knew, why in the world, seriously, why in the world would he support this? Brandon thinks Obama aided and abetted the enemy. Philip says, nope, forgive and forget. He's a traitor and a deserter during a declared war. The punishment for that is execution. We were taught that during basic training, and I remember it now after being retired for over 26 years. Pam says, I don't believe anything that traitor has to say. He deserves everything he gets plus more. Don wants to know, can we just trade him in for honorable missing men? I don't know, do we have a lot of people missing in this war? I'm not sure we do. Steve thinks this is a big, big deal. Philip says, I'm a retired U.S. Army officer. This man was protected by Obama because of his leftist leanings and because of Obama's Muslim preferences. By the way, for everybody that served in the country, thank you for your service. We do appreciate you very, very much. I'll get back to more of your comments in just a minute. Did you hear that a Marine tried to carjack a double-decker tour bus near the White House yesterday? Did you see that story? It's, man, our country, it's just getting weird out there. Weird.
Sarah, Jim, we spoke to the bus driver in this case who was extremely shaken up and sore, as you can imagine. She did not want to speak to us on camera, but she tells us that this attack on her was completely unprovoked. Meanwhile, the suspect, 24-year-old Tyler Jackson, he was arraigned here today where he pled not guilty and was released on his own recognizance. But take a look at this video that was sent to us by a witness. His name was Craig Ludwig. He was a passenger on this double-decker bus last night, and this is video he took on his cell phone of Jackson's arrest. It was around 8 o'clock last night. You can see in the video Jackson arguing with officers as he's sitting on the curb. We can confirm that Jackson is currently a sergeant in the U.S. Marine Corps based out of Quantico in the Security Augmentation Unit. Now, this all happened when this tour bus made a brief stop in front of the White House on 8th Street. While the tour guide was busy speaking to passengers on the upper deck, the driver tells me she opened the door to get some fresh air. It was a warm night last night. Next thing she knew, a man jumped onto the bus through that door, came towards her, yelling the words, "Get out of here," and just started wailing on her. She says he hit her several times in the face and head. She yelled for help several times. Eventually, people from the upper level came down to stop the attack, and because this happened so close to the White House, Secret Service was also there within minutes where they made the arrest. The bus driver was taken to a hospital, but she's okay, and she tells me she's not sure why this man attacked her. Now, we did speak with officials with Big Bus who tell us this is the first time one of their drivers has ever been assaulted, but after several other bus drivers have been attacked in D.C. recently, they are very concerned. They also put out a statement, which I can read to you in part. Quote, "We are incredibly appreciative of the quick response by authorities. The safety of our team members and guests is incredibly important to us. Our buses do include onboard cameras, and we will continue to work with authorities as the investigation continues." Now, Tyler Jackson has been ordered to stay away from the White House. His charges include simple assault, unarmed carjacking, and resisting arrest, and he'll be back in court here November 13th.
Okay. Here's what I don't get. I don't get this one at all. You let a guy like that out.
Chevy is the most.
Oops. You let a guy like that out on his own recognizance. He's just out on his own. Yeah, just go on. Don't worry about it. Just you take off, and hopefully you'll come back. That'd be nice. We'd appreciate it if you'd show up again. Something going crazy, go nuts in this country. It's just crazy. A Marine did that? Mike says, I trust your opinion, Rusty. Talking about Bergdahl here. Now, what do you think of this? Do you think that this Marine guy, is he nutty? I mean, it's hard to get in the Marines. So I would have a hard time believing that somebody who was in the Marines would have serious mental issues unless maybe there's some PTSD going on. And that's possible. But I don't know. What do you think's going on there? Mike says, I trust your opinion, Rusty. I think he should squeal on what he knows about Obama, Hillary. Did give him life, or is he something to arrest those two? Oh, does he have anything to arrest those two traitors? I doubt that Hillary or Obama gave Bo Bergdahl any info, any inside scoop. Sorry. David reminded me, yes, 6 died looking for Bergdahl. George says this is a big deal. It's opened the door to more desertions. Eddie said, hey, the only thing that man cared about was getting rich, just like all of them rich people. All they care about is taking money from the poor. It's taking the pockets so he can get richer and richer and richer. They don't care about who you are or what you do. Don't matter about your I'm guessing color. I need NFL football players, American and... Yeah, sorry, Eddie, I'm thinking your spell check didn't help you out any there. Ryan thinks send Bergdahl to a foreign jail for life. Obama never done anything to help any military peoples who follow the military as well as civilian laws. He leaves a Marine in a Mexican prison for 6 months without doing anything to help him. Remember that one? That one was awful. And it's so funny, it wasn't that long ago. It was the story that everybody talked about. Now I bet a lot of people forgot about it. There was this Marine, and he's driving down to Mexico. Near San Rosita. You see, I can't even say it. Down to south of San Diego. And he gets there, and he goes, oh gosh, I forgot. I got a gun. And there's a big sign, I've been there, big sign that says, no weapons in Mexico, because that's one thing they don't have in Mexico. No guns in Mexico. They've outlawed the gun, and gun control is doing nothing but working well in Mexico. That's a great example of why we know that the gun laws don't work, but here nor there. Anyway, so this Marine, and there's a one little turnoff you can do, but I guess he missed the turnoff. And he gets there and he declares it. He says, hey, guys, I've got a weapon. What should I do? And they go, oh, I'll go right over there. And they arrest him and put him in prison for 6 months. Well, Peter thinks we should bring back old Sparky. Lots of great comments. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Donald says a dude pulled a gun on him the other day. Really? Said I should have killed the guy. We need less mercy in this country. We're not God. We can only hope to live by his laws and guidance, but enough's enough. Coincidence. They're killing our nation's heroes. Wow, Donald, I really hope that what you just said is not true. I hope that nobody pulled a gun on you. And if they did, I hope you're okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Beth says, make him build the wall. Now, there you go. Let's get Bergdahl and Chelsea Manning, and for their job for the next 20 years is building that wall on the southern border. Woohoo! Now, that's what I can get behind. What are we going to do? You're going to build the wall, boys and girls. Or boys and boys, or... I still don't know what you call it. I guess you're supposed to call him a woman. I think what bugs me the most about that is we got to pay for that. Well, why is it you join the military and all of a sudden we got to give you a sex change? Come on. If you want to have a sex change, that's on you, and it should be on you to pay for it too. Or my big meanie on that one too. All right, you ever played with one of those fidget spinners? Yeah, I haven't either. But they're the big rage right now, as you probably know. And it looks like they took up the fidget spinner up into space. And there's a little video, and it's kind of cute. Here it is on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. Let's check it out. Ooh. He's spinning out too. Remember when astronauts were cool looking? These guys are just like nerdy. I mean, no offense. Okay, I'll admit that does look fun. That's a pretty picture. you're watching online or listening to the podcast.
For more space.
Yeah, if you're listening to the podcast, they were floating in space and they had the fidget spinner. They just don't stop. It's kind of cool. Again, I remember when The Right Stuff, those guys were badass looking. These new astronauts look like I could kick their asses. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm just saying looks like I could. They're just all, in the words of the great philosopher Weird Al Yankovic, white and nerdy. I'm white and nerdy. Let's see. Chris thinks that the guy that was released that tried to steal the bus may have had some strings attached to his own recognizance house arrest. Yeah. Jason thinks we should get Eminem help them build the wall. Yeah, because that's one thing that Eminem, he looks like he's a real tough guy. Would really do good with hard labor. That's funny. Mary, build that wall. Debbie, build the wall 10 foot by 20 foot, 100 foot tall. Second Amendment is our right, not a privilege, says Thomas. Marvin says, I think Facebook's trying to shut you down. Wouldn't be the first, wouldn't be the last time. Make sure you do help me. Share this video right now. Thumbs ups, hearts, comments. Make sure you share the video and make sure you know my website, rustylive.com, okay? It's very important. Another thing. Whoa! Oh! That's never happened before. I fell right out of my chair trying to grab something. Oh, isn't it sad when cousins marry? Okay. Edit that part out of the Vive feed, would you please? Okay. This portion of the Rusty Humphries Rebellion, you should pay extra for that kind of entertainment. This portion being brought to you by our good friends at WaxRx. Thankfully, my ears are clean because of WaxRx, and I could hear myself fall and make a fool of myself. Right here, live on TV. Right here, live. Anyway, WaxRx is the pH-conditioned ear wash system, so you can clean your ears at home with a system like doctors use. I've been telling you about this a couple weeks ago. My ears were driving me nuts. It was the middle of the night. And I was going, I have to go to the doctor. I can't hear. I'm dizzy. It's awful. And I went, wait a second, I got WaxRx. And I went and I pulled out the kit. That's all the stuff in there. And I was able to use the same ear washer purchased by doctors and clinics, and it worked. It worked. And it'll work for you too. Go to waxrx.com. It's waxrx.com. Code word Rusty. That's my name, Rusty. And I would sure appreciate you supporting our sponsors. Without sponsors, we don't have a show. So without you and without sponsors, no show. And we need to keep having a show, and we need to keep telling the truth. So please support our sponsors, because they're very nice people too. waxrx.com. Thank you. I'll be a little more gentle as I set this down. Yeah. Jason wants me to back off the sauce. Betsy says, sorry to say this, but you're boring. Am I boring today? I could be. It's Monday. It's been one of those days. So if Betsy says I'm boring, you know what? If the audience says I'm boring, then you're right. And if I'm boring, that's it. We're ending the show. That's how it goes. Kathy says maybe I need a little more equilibrium. Thank you. Get rid of the wax. Probably right. Oh, Kay says her grandkids love the stuff from the Toy Maker. Thank you, Kay. TheToymaker.com. They're one of our great sponsors. WaxRx, Zona Plus. Who else? Toy Maker. DerMend. Skin products for seasoned citizens. Tomorrow I'll actually do a good show. How's that? We'll do something different than tonight. We'll do a good show tomorrow. I do appreciate you. Do me a favor. Oh, one more. Jerry says, my comments would not go through earlier. He says, back in business. A good commander-in-chief not only listens to his generals, but also to the lower echelon. Bergdahl's fellow soldiers said he deserted. Yes, we knew that. The one who gave the order bet he was a conscious problems. They lost 4 looking for him. Don't forget the prison swap trade made from Guantanamo Bay. What was Obama thinking? I don't know what Obama was thinking. It's Monday. Tomorrow will be Tuesday. It'll be a better one. Thank you very much. May God bless you. May God bless America. We'll see you next time. I'm Rusty Humphries, and this is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.